619, 1320 WILS. Well, MSU is about to get a very controversial visitor tomorrow. He's a self-described internet supervillain and also technology editor at Breitbart News. Milo Yiannopoulos joins us. Milo, great to have you on WILS.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Now, you're on a national college tour. What's the name of the tour?
It is the Dangerous Faggot Tour, which is designed to wind up everybody. It seems to be having exactly the desired effect.
Where did that name come from to choose that?
Well, the idea behind it really is just that the left, the political progressive left, the social justice warriors and the sort of far left campus crazies that are making everybody's life so miserable these days, give words undue power, words that power that they don't necessarily need to have, and it's sort of a way of demonstrating that you can have fun, you can call people nicknames, you can be silly and mischievous and dissident and provocative, and nobody dies.
Well, let me ask you this, Milo, because in the U.S. there's the N word, and now they call it the F word. Do you think there are some words that maybe shouldn't be used?
To be honest with you, I think only the N-word. And even then, I think white people should be able to quote hip-hop lyrics on TV without worrying that their career would be over. You should be able to quote Lil Wayne and in context for it to be clear. I don't think we should be terrified about saying words that are in songs. Mm-hmm. But I think, the harder version of that particular word is something that you probably shouldn't say. That's about it.
Milo Yiannopoulos, he's going to be on the MSU campus tomorrow, 7 p.m., speaking at Conrad Hall, room C102. Milo, tell me this. What do you think of the current atmosphere on college campuses like MSU?
Well, MSU is a particular problem. I mean, the whole campus has been thrown into crisis by my arrival. There's student organizations says they're going to use violence if necessary to stop me from talking. Other people are very excited to hear it go on. There's a war happening, basically, on American college campuses. There is a war that has been precipitated by the progressive left, by the feminists and Black Lives Matter and the social justice warriors who want to control what other people can say, do, be, think.
Why are these groups so threatened by you?
Well, I think because I am something that shouldn't exist according to the identity politics of the left. They think that all women should believe a certain thing, which is why they're horrified that women vote for Trump. They think all black people should vote a certain way. They think all gays should have a certain set of opinions, and I don't. And I'm a sort of living, breathing example of how everything they believe is wrong, which is why they hate me so much.
What is it you want to tell students tomorrow?
So tomorrow I'm going to be talking about sort of Clash of Civilizations type kind of lecture. It's going to be about the progressive left and the sort of celebrity political elite class's failure to address Islam and the threats to freedom, democracy, property rights, rights of minorities, whether it's gays being hurled off roofs or women being routinely oppressed in the West now too, thanks to Islamic immigration. I'm going to be talking a little bit about what they don't tell you about Islam and how our leaders are failing us.
And what do you make of how college campuses are dealing with that issue, specifically discussing Islam?
Absolutely appallingly. I mean, I come from Britain, where university campuses are hotbeds of Islamic radicalization, and this is university campuses are one of the places that ordinary Muslims are turned into terrorists. And stuff is coming to America. It is spreading over here too, and I very much would like it not to infect American college campuses too. But it's heading that way. It's heading that way thanks to the sort of weird social justice progressive left that makes excuses for the most appalling behavior and regressive social attitudes under the banner of multiculturalism and tolerance and all the rest of it. People just turn a blind eye to the worst imaginable behavior. And they legitimize violence. I mean, the guy that ran into his car into 9 people at Ohio State was taking courses on microaggressions. His teachers were telling him that, an appropriate response to ideas is violence.
For those that say, taking any position against Islam is Islamophobic, how do you respond to that?
Well, it's preposterous, isn't it? I mean, Islam is a set of ideas, and like any other set of ideas, it, deserves to be scrutinized. I have scrutinized it. I have found it lacking. I found it wanting. I found the culture that surrounds that set of ideas to be ugly and toxic and oppressive to all the people that progressives say they want to look after and say they want to protect. And there are very few people in public life are brave enough to say that. And I think it takes, maybe it takes a gay man, maybe it takes a woman like Ayaan Hirsi Ali, the great campaigner, to stand up and say, hang on a second, you're not being told the truth about this. This is something that you really should think twice about again before you welcome it into America.
You're talking to Milo Yiannopoulos. He is going to be at MSU tomorrow, 7 p.m., speaking at Conrad Hall. You can get tickets, by the way, at eventbrite.com. In terms of being gay, how important is that to your identity and to the way people look at you, would you say?
Well, it's not at all important to me as a human being, but I like to play with it, and I like to put it in front of people to subvert their expectations. People think that if you're gay, you're going to have a particular set of political opinions, you're going to like a certain sort of set of things, you're going to watch these TV shows, listen to this music. This is the basic assumption underpinning what we call identity politics, the idea from the left that, that you can sort people into categories based on their skin color, sexuality, gender, whatever, and you can then predict what they will do, how they will behave, and ultimately how they will vote based on those characteristics. I think that is a profoundly stupid way of looking at the world, and hugely anti-intellectual, and it's wrong. It's just wrong.
But how do other gay, even organizations or people view you? What do you find the reaction to be?
Well, ordinary people love me very much. The establishment, which is the sort of gay lobbying, gay charities, gay media establishment hates me because they all sign up to this crazy philosophy that if you're gay you have to believe a certain set of things. Gay magazines all have uniform politics. The gay charities have totally uniform politics, and they're actually more about as we witnessed perfectly well in the aftermath of Orlando, they care more about politics than they do about saving the lives of gay people. They will lie to you and leave you less safe, provided that it protects, their political objectives. I find that kind of stuff horrifying. I think post-Orlando, every gay charity in this country should be shut down.
So, when you see this country, though, legalizing gay marriage, is that heading in the right direction in your view, then?
I don't think you can prevent two people who love each other from having those sorts of protections in law. I kind of wish gay people wouldn't do it. I think part of the value of gays to the rest of society is that we're able to sort of live these slightly dissident lives, push the edges, and as a result be interesting artists and inventors and creators. Gay people have always done very well at that, historically speaking. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of a shame when gay people kind of settle down into these, parodies of heterosexual institutions. And they are, of course, parodies because these two people cannot produce children together, and that's it's a sort of weird imitation.
Well, they can adopt,
institution.
Of course, though, right?
Well, yeah, I suppose, but I mean, it's it's not the same, is it? And it's a sort of, for me, it's a sort of weird imitation of a heterosexual institution that is, as a Catholic, I think is a sacred institution. I think it's something is the cohesive glue that binds society together. I just don't know why gay people want to do it. It seems to me entirely beside the point.
Talking to Milo Yiannopoulos, he'll be at MSU tomorrow. Now, you're also an avowed anti-feminist. What does that mean exactly?
Well, quite simply, women have noticed, although the media hasn't caught up yet, that feminism has changed in the last couple of decades from a movement about equality, getting women equal access to education, equal pay, the vote, equal representation. It's changed, it's morphed, it's turned into something vindictive and spiteful and man-hating. And that's why fewer than one in five women in the U.S. describes herself as a feminist, and just 7% of British women describe themselves as feminists, because they've recognized that feminism describes itself as one thing, but behaves as something else.
Do you think it dominates? Do you think it's dominating the culture of young people here in the U.S.? Or?
Well, the media is certainly attempting that. Although I will tell you that if you think millennials politics are crazy and liberal left and lunatic, have some faith, because younger than my fans start at 12, 13 years old. Somebody brought their 12-year-old kid to one of my shows the other day, which I felt I didn't realize until afterwards they were even there. I perhaps would have sworn less, but the generation underneath, who are now sort of 12, 13, 14, 15, don't like this stuff at all. They're rebelling against it massively because, of course, their parents are the older millennials. Mm-hmm. So it's a big presence in the life of young people, but that young people don't necessarily all believe the same thing as the media would like you to imagine that they do. They're not uniformly signed up to this stuff. And most women, by the way, agree with me. The vast majority of women agree with me that feminism has become something ugly and vindictive and spiteful and horrible. And the media has an obsession with it, and the media has total uniform opinions that are massively out of step with what ordinary people believe.
Okay, so in your view, what are millennials really like now, these especially the college-age millennials?
Well, I think we saw in this election, the power of the silent majority, the people who've been lied to and lied about, and who just basically opted out of public life. But when they get the opportunity to vote, will make themselves heard, will express themselves in unexpected ways. That's definitely the best, explanation for Trump's victory.
Okay.
Well, I think the same thing is going on college campuses. I think there is a majority of people who do not believe this crazy social justice stuff. It's just that the social justice warriors are so much louder, so much better connected, better organized, and more whiny. But there's a majority of people who think that they're wrong and they've gone completely off the boil. And the younger millennials, the 13, 14, 15-year-olds that I was talking about, they hate it. They absolutely hate it. We're going to see. I have some friends at BuzzFeed who sort of, tell me internally the company's very worried because they've had this huge purchase on millennial imagination, with pushing this kind of, weird sort of far left politics where, blaming straight white men for everything, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The younger people are not buying it. They don't like it. Why? Because it's their parents' politics. Because these people at BuzzFeed are 35 years old.
They're actually rebelling against that. Milo Yiannopoulos, he will be at MSU tomorrow at Conrad Hall, 7 p.m. Get tickets at eventbrite.com. Milo, thanks.
Thanks so much for having me. Thank you.
We'll be right back.